Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing okay. We're going jumping today, our first jumping competition of 2023, and we're taking Maggie. I'm running a little late because we lost the lorry keys, so I quickly need to go catch her. If you've seen any of my other vlogs, you'll know that she's been being a bit of a monkey to catch, so I brought treats. Woo! That sounds good. That literally made her do an about turn. Right, I'm gonna go catch her because I'm very, very short on time. I'll speak to her in a sec. Well, that was very, very successful. Straight to the gate, easy to catch. I don't know how long it'll last, but I'll keep doing that trick for a while. So, in between the last vlog and now, we have been to Petland area festivals for BD. So, I haven't put that up as a proper vlog because I was a bit rubbish at vlogging it. So I'm going to pop a mini vlog up while we get ready and head to Vale yet again. For our arena eventing, so you can have a bit of a nosy and we'll get going. Good morning everybody, it's another early morning on the vlog and I hope you are doing okay today. We are going out competing again. I've got ponies in just there. I need to skip them out. We're going out to BD area festivals, which is sponsored by Petland. So they're very often called Petlands. So if I say Petlands, that's what I mean. We're going to go do a novice test, which is like a step up in level for Maggie and I. We're not as established at this level, so we will see how we go. And as you can see, it's really cold again. I've got some warm water filling from the hot shower, and I'm going to skip out stables. I've just taken Kit round to the lorry and Mum is putting it in. And then I've got to pop Maggie on because we've got another arena walk, and stick Titan out in the field and make sure everybody's got enough hay in the field as well. At least it's not as frozen as last time. So cold last time. Feeling much better this time. Right, I best get cracking. Good boy, Tinty. He's got some haylage. So is Donut. You can just see his reflective there. And so is Titan. I think that's his reflective there. Wow, won't it be nice when it's not dark in the mornings? Good lad. I don't know what you've seen. Right, let's go find Miss Maggie. Hello, so we're here. Despite it being a local venue, Mum and I managed to take a detour on our way in. I think we both had a little brain fart. So we're a bit later than planned. So I'm just getting Maggie tacked up ready for the arena walk. And we know the drill now. We go and walk around the edge. And we got fluffy boots. Fluffy boots today, not bandages.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at the beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Drive a faster car. Lay my troubles.
Hello, gorgeous girl. Hi, beautiful. Hello. You okay?
City lights, gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, no, nothing can break me.
Okay, this is like blind reaction time. So I'm just screen recording the footage, and I thought it makes sense for me to do my voiceover right now because yet again I've got 3 judges, so I can't read out all of the scores as I go. I'm just trotting to go in at the minute, so I just thought I'd give you my opinion, especially a blind one, because I've not watched my test yet. I think that was a very good turn down the centre line, especially to say that we were within the boards, which makes it much harder. And I'm trying very hard to sit straight. I could lift my left shoulder a little bit more. Good turn, not losing any balance. So a big aim for me on this test was to get Maggie going a bit more uphill. And then we go into our medium trot, a little tentative. We can offer more than that, so there wasn't a massive amount of difference shown. And then we're just working on our contact a little bit there. And I'd say it's slightly less flowing because I'm trying to get her more uphill, but you can see that her withers are more up and her croup is a bit more down in her frame if you compare it to her regional tests. So to say we only had 4 days preparation, there is difference, which I think is quite impressive. Now, second medium trot, much better. Very smooth, not firing her or anything like that, just clearly opening up the pace and then closing it. And then we're on to our next 15-metre circle, and I think I went a bit wide there looking at that, but better on this side. So I think it was a judge at sea told me off for my accuracy, and you can see like my canter transition was slightly late there. I didn't ask well enough, and I didn't give her enough of a half halt coming out the corner just to let her jump into canter. Good canter, I think. I'm pleased with this. Only problem being I should have done a give and retake on that second half of the circle as I crossed the centre line. And guess who didn't? Me. But look at that frame of her. Like, I'm kind of over the give and retake thing now because, wow, that frame was good. This is our medium canter here. You can see a little bit of lift, but maybe could show a bit more difference from the front. But I do imagine that the judge at B would have been able to see a lot more difference. Very good, clean transition to walk. Very pleased with that. Maybe getting a bit deep in the contact in the medium walk, and pretty good free walk as well. Maggie, she tries so hard. I adore this mare. And gosh, I love her. Little jog there. So you can see that this test is littered with little mistakes, but they're not major. They're just there. Just what happens with some tests. Good transition to trot, quickly gathering up my reins, and then straight up into canter. Better transition. We can do a better transition again than that, but better transition than our first one in the canter. And when we're in a good canter, there's good jump. She is certainly more uphill than her regionals test, but yet again, silly me, sack the rider, no give and retake. I just completely forgot them, like just completely went out of my head. I knew where I was going, just didn't do my glove and retakes. I won't forget those again. Right, let's come round to our medium canter. I think it was even better this way. You can see we're covering the ground a little bit better. We're staying straight in the canter and then we're back, because Maggie can often go against the hand in the back. Accurate transition to trot there. And then we have to come for our stretchy circle, which I think she did pretty good too. Sometimes I'm a bit disappointed when she stretches, because she stretches better at home, but I think that's just one of those things that she's more relaxed at home when it comes to that. And there's not very long to get her stretched down. But we're then onto the centre line, which again, I'm pretty proud of myself with these centre lines and a square halt. And I remembered my salutes. Clever me. So, gosh, that's the first time I've watched this test. It's about 10 days later. You can see how hot Maggie is off my leg, ready to go for a little jig jog off. And I was so thrilled. I came walking out of the arena, absolutely beaming, to Robin, who went, "Fantastic test, but did you do your give and retakes?" And I must admit, a swear word came out of my mouth, because I was just like, oh my God, I completely forgot. But it's one of those things. I was very, very pleased with the test, and very, very pleased with Maggie's way of going. And watching it back, I am still absolutely thrilled with this test and her way of going. Step up of a level, and we moved into a different frame. Overall, it was interesting because I was kicking myself so much for forgetting the give and retakes, but when we got my test sheets back, I went down a couple of marks. It might have been sort of 2%. But actually, the biggest thing with it was actually the judges thought she was a bit tense through the back. And that is a byproduct of me trying to get her to lift a little bit. She's probably not as strong as she needs to be to stay through the back and up. So we're just going to keep working on that with pole work, transition work, lots more lessons before we go to nationals. And I was actually, once I'd seen my tests, I was kicking myself a little bit less about the give and retakes, because it didn't cost me like a qualification. So, you know, it's nice to see that we all make mistakes sometimes, and just lovely to have our progression on camera. And I think you can see the difference in 5 days, and we actually scored 66%, I believe, and came 10th out of 60 people, which is fantastic at area festivals at the next level up. So I honestly couldn't be happier with my girl. She's an absolute superstar. Yeah, I just love her so much. Okay then, that was our test. It's a little while later. Maggie's been on the lorry having a snooze. I went and got a little bit of brunch, and we've waited for our score to come in. Now, I forgot my give and retake. Bit of a nightmare, silly me. But I thought, other than that, Miss Maggie went so beautifully. She's a completely different frame this week. So much more uphill, so much better. So our score came in, and I think I got like 66 point something, which I'm actually a little bit disappointed with. I was hoping it would be a bit higher, but I don't know how much forgetting my give and retakes actually affected that score. I was hoping for maybe like a 67 or a tiny bit more, even with forgetting the give and retakes. I was so impressed with how she went. Anyway, when it first came through, I think I came through in 4th, which means that I'm not going to have qualified. So it means that we only have 1 day at Hartpury, which, to be honest, that sounds good to me. 1 day of dressage is plenty, but I think there's so many good things to come from this test. And actually, it's good to remember that I am only human. I can forget something in my test occasionally. And given retakes, it's one of those that I will forget if I'm going to forget anything, because I've not got to remember where I'm going. I'm just, I've got to do it amongst the movement, so kicking myself a little bit. But by the same token, Maggie thinks that she's done a clear round as such, test clear round, and I'm so pleased with where we're going. And this is all before the event season starts, so it's going to get even better, isn't it, little girl? And I just feel like we're really making progress. She's coming into that better frame. We've got the medium paces now, and as well, I need to double check back, but I do think 66 is one of my better scores at novice level. And obviously this is at championship as well, so pretty good, hey Missy? And she was a lot less spooky in the indoor, weren't you? You're a good girl. She just tries so hard. Are you ready? Oh, we're home. What a good girlie. And would you believe it, despite our test errors, we still came 10th out of 58, I think is the accurate number of people that were in there, which is absolutely bonkers. I do not deserve that mare. She is wonderful. I feel so, so lucky. Right, shall we go get back to the arena eventing then? Right then, we're in the lorry, we're on the road. I don't know how late we are. Actually only 5 minutes late, which is quite impressive. I've got my lunch with me. We're at 5 minutes. You wanted to leave at 1 and it's 10 past and we're 5 minutes down the road.
Well, it says it's quarter past in the lorry.
See, she doesn't believe me. She doesn't believe me, and it's only 10 past 1. And I've just had to sprint to the house and back because we've had a thought on where the lorry keys are. Because we've got a spare set, but we only have one set with the fuel key on it.
You know what I'm doing?
And we're going to get about 5 more fuel keys cut. And we just suddenly thought, oh God, we know where they are. As Mum stops, oh my God, that lorry's being a bit keen. As Mum stops, I reckon it was 300 yards away from the house. She reckons it was 100. Either which way, I had to sprint to the house, go and get them. Luckily they were in the spot. Sprint back to the lorry. And now we're on our way. And I'm not panicking that we're going to run out of fuel and have no way of putting fuel in. So, all good now, finally. I'm gonna eat my pasta bake lunch, because that's what you do on a Sunday lunchtime, isn't it? And yeah, I hope you enjoy that roundup of pet plans. And we are now heading off to Valeview again, which obviously we've just been at for pet plans, and we are going to be doing the meter 5 arena eventing. So this is Maggie's first competitive outing since April last year. It's my first one this year, and it's my first one at this height. Yeah, jumping, obviously, I mean. It's my first one at this height since April last year as well. So it should be entertaining. I'm hoping we get there in time for the course walk.
I'll get you there.
And you'll get me there, will you?
Johanna and I'll get you there.
Thank you very much. I can let my heart rate go down a little bit because Mum's going, oh, it'll be fine, we've got a quarter of a tank of fuel, and I'm going, oh my God, what if we break down and then we can't even get in to put more fuel in it? So I'm feeling a little bit better now we've got the trusty keys with us. Yeah, it's fine, says my mother. Fine.
It's Sunday, it's fine.
Yeah, Sunday, that means there's less recovery mechanics. And when they turn around and say, why did you let it run out of fuel? Oh, well, we went out without the fuel key. I'm going to feel like a brat, aren't I? So, anyhow, heart rate coming down. I'm going to eat my pasta bake. I'll see you in a sec. Right then, a little bit of a course walk. Now, you don't have the whole of the show jumping and the cross-country courses because, to be completely honest, it was a bit tougher than I'd expected it to be. I knew it was going to be full up to height. I knew there'd be fillers and all whatnot, but they had put more technicality in than I remember being at Vale last time I went arena eventing there. So, yeah, you got a very shortened show jumping course walk, and you're going to get a shortened cross-country course walk, where even like this, we're going straight in with the technicality, down a drop, turn to a white rail, then there's not even really enough space to turn, it's more like an angle to a ditch, and then we have to go around that house on the left to this skinny, which is on a part A B, to the following skinny over here up the hill. So yeah, I think I stop at the corner, but you'll see as we carry on, we then come around to drop into the water, and then come out up the slope on a turn to this skinny house, which I know I've jumped on her, but it's just plonked in a bit of a precarious position, and then like two offset angled houses, turn to another full up house. Then this is the corner that I then just finished off the course walk with, I think. And at that stage I went and nipped back to the lorry to actually chat to Mum, just to say, I don't know if I've ever faced Maggie, because I had already eyed up the fact that there was a jump one stride to a ditch to another one stride to a jump, a fence straight into water. Obviously that corner you're approaching from the skinny side, so it was like the more accurate version of the corner, if that makes sense, rather than jumping the two long sides. And I was just thinking, I don't know if I've done enough preparation for this, and I don't want to set us up to fail, and I don't want to push Maggie too hard on her first competitive jumping outing since surgery. So I went back and we had a chat with Mum, and I did come up with a plan B of withdraw and school afterwards. But we came to the conclusion that we would give it a crack, and if at any stage I felt like I was overfacing her, I was just going to pull up and retire, because it's just not worth losing anybody's confidence, mine or hers. So then I went and finished off the course walk, got Mum to go and walk a line of fences with me, and went for a warm-up. Now I started warming up, and instantly all of my worries went away, because she was such a keen bean, and I just thought, okay, we can crack on. Everything I've been worrying about, should I be bringing her out at 1.5 m for her first show jumping? Even though 1 metre isn't very big for her, it was still a little bit of a gremlin, where I was just thinking, have I been an absolute idiot? And then I popped over that first show jumping and continued warming her up, and thought, no, I've not been an idiot. This is exactly the right spot for her to be. So as you've just seen, she warmed up really well. I was really pleased with her. There was someone that went and kept putting the fences up, and Mum was stood at the edge, so I just jumped what they put up, and it didn't faze her one bit. Obviously, I was quite aware. I had not jumped a double on Maggie since April last year. Now, bear in mind, if you've seen my 2022 roundup, I had a fairly decent fall off of her at Norton Disney going through a double where we didn't make the distance, because she's a bit spooky through them sometimes. And we had 2 doubles, so I got into the ring as soon as I could, and I really made the most of showing her the doubles, walking in between them, going and showing her the fillers because she's not particularly seen fillers and a fully dressed course in nearly a year. And yeah, just giving her a good trot round and sort of de-spooking her to the indoors. And actually she was loads better about being indoors on this day than she has been previously. But obviously we've done a lot of work for the dressage and it's obviously paid off for the jumping. So let's go. Keen Bean took a hold, went straight off with me and made up way too much distance between 1 and 2. So I'd put quite a lot of leg on for fence 1, thinking, you know, first lot of fillers, let's just put some leg on just in case. And then I suddenly realised just how keen Maggie was to get back at the job. At which point I was like, I'm not taking my legs off, but I'm going to be aware. Ride forwards to the double, we made the distance, no chance we were stopping there. And I was very pleased, but this just took a lot of work. It's not refined, it's a little bit speedy, a little bit leery, and I was kind of wishing I'd put her stronger bit in, but I had not expected her to come out so on the job. And I actually think as the course went on, she got better as she sort of settled into the rhythm a little bit. But I think you can appreciate the sort of the turns that I saw on the course walk and was thinking, oh gosh, this is a bit tight if we're not quite as well schooled as I was hoping for. But she didn't care, did she? Now my darling mum has to do the speedy dash. Obviously this is sped up. Speedy dash out to video outside, doing prime camera woman duty, top job from her. By this stage I've jumped 1 and 2. Maggie's taken a hold, taken a stride out at number 2. So I am working with what I've got and she is keen, but God, she's jumping. You saw how she flew number 3. So now we're coming to number 4 and 5 AB, which you saw on the course walk, quite technical. Down, 2 strides, little chink, jumped the ditch, didn't care, wiggled around the house, and on our way to that fairly decent sized skinny, straight as a die to the second skinny. I didn't even know why I'd been questioning things. So here I decided to be a little bit cautious, come down the smaller steps because just in case she was a little bit iffy with water. But no, we don't care. Picked up the canter, locks onto the skinny and just pops over it as if she's been out schooling every day of her life. So now we've got these two angled fences, straight as a die. You wouldn't realise how angled they are. Turns really easily to this fence. And at this stage I'm thinking, oh, it's that corner. Let alone by the time I came around the corner and realised someone had already taken the flag down. Not that Maggie cared one bit. Pops up here, and here is where we came a bit unstuck. I'm trying to whoa so we don't jump in too big into the water as we're coming downhill, and Maggie just wasn't paying attention to me, and by the time I was like, oh, I best put my leg on, we came to a little stop, came round again, back into a better canter and popped it beautifully. I honestly just think this is like a cross wires in communication and something that once we are refined and properly back at it, will be sorted. Coming round to the owl hole, Maggie doesn't like owl holes, but she actually jumped through it really well. And then coming to this sort of coffin combination that I thought would be tricky as well. And yeah, in she goes and she just bosses it, absolute bosses it. So we then just pop over the last two, so lovely. So we had that little blip, but you know, it's rustiness on both our parts, and she was just so super and loving it. And you know, if she can come and do that off of a little bit of schooling at home and one cross-country schooling session, which was over a month before, because then we were doing all the dressage prep, I'm starting to dream of what she might do this season. So again, this vlog is kind of just like nice to show that we're human and we can make mistakes. It's another thing there. We can have a pole down, we can have a stop, but we're out training, getting the match practice, going out and sort of cracking on and working through it. It doesn't always have to be perfect as long as we make progress, and I certainly think that's what we did today. Well, goodness me, it's Maggie. I'm just walking her while a match soaks because she's desperate to have it, aren't you, Gilly? She was incredible. I actually had second thoughts. I went and said to Mum about withdrawing, hence why you didn't get the rest of the course walk, because I just thought they'd made it too technical and I was asking too much off of not enough preparation. It was novice technicality, everything full up, which I'd kind of expected, but I hadn't expected all of the questions, and the show jumping course was tricky too, and yet somebody just absolutely dragged me around that course, dragged me to the extent that we made mistakes because I didn't have enough brakes, but and she's so happy to be back out at it. It's mad. I hadn't expected her to come out so well, else I'd have put my stronger bit in. But, we certainly need that next time we go out. But what a great problem to have, personally, after having, you've seen how spooky she can be, even just in dressage arena. So to go like she's going is, you know, amazing. Right then, I'm heading down to the field with the queen. You good girl. She says, yeah. It's getting into the evening now. We've got a beautiful sunset going on, haven't we, Maggie? And we're going to go see our Titan and put some rugs on the boys where I've taken their rugs off for the morning. I'm so chuffed with her. It was a bit of an ask, especially when I saw the course. It was tough, and we actually came sixth in the end as well, which, you know, I'd gone in on the principle of if it started feeling too much for her, I'd pull up and retire. And yet she was so chuffed with the situation. She was loving life, and I don't know, this was a big deal. One of my friends was there doing the BD, and she looked over and she shouted hello to me as I was approaching my first warm-up fence, and she watched us jump our warm-up fence, and then was like, I'm so pleased to see you doing that with that pony, because April last year she knew how I felt about nearly losing Maggie. Like, people close to me knew that I was this far away from giving up horses for good if I'd lost Maggie. I was so heartbroken. So it has been quite the journey. That friend, shout out to Emily, who also did very well in her dressage with her ginger pony, ginger mare. So yeah, and I turned round to her as well. I'd been like, oh, Emily, I know, I'm really pleased that she's jumping, but I don't know if I've overfaced her going straight in and at the metre 5. But then Emily just turned around and said exactly the same as Mum said, and was like, you will be fine. Just like, man up, basically. Hello, Titan darling. He says, I'm not looking. And I just sort of went, yeah, well, that's what I told myself when I entered. The metre's not that big for her. But obviously on walking the course, I was a bit like, oh my God, you know, we've been out schooling once and jumped a few times at home and been focused on dressage this month. Maybe I'd pushed it a bit hard, but you've seen in the videos that was so easy and she was so game. Okay, so I'm going to pop it out. I don't feel like I've done much in betweeny vlogging today, but that's fine. It can be short and sweet on the jumping day side, because we're gonna have the dressage, well, you've seen the dressage bit in between. I'm now gonna pop her to bed, go rug up the boys, sort out the lorry, and then then we'll be getting sorted for the rest of the day. You got worked earlier, didn't you? Yes. He says, I had a lunge. I would quite like to go jumping too. But these two can't be trusted on the lorry together because they kick off when I'm riding the other one, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Sorry for that ramble. Anyhow, have a good day. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me. No, no, nothing can break me.